Welcome to Area B in Big Booty Land. Your departure is imminent. Destination: a planet far, far away, where Big Booty Man was once just a boy. We're happy to have you. The time for departure has come. We look forward to your return to Big Booty Land shortly, for you will be missed. Lift off in T-3, 2, 1.
I should probably go to bed. I should probably turn off my phone. I should quit while I'm ahead. I should probably leave you alone. Yeah, if I'm fine, baby, are you going for the ride? When I look into your eyes, I just wanna hold you all night. I should probably go to bed.
All right, GM. Let me adjust this volume real quick. I want to make sure you guys can still hear it. I can still hear it too. Trying to find like that good mix. I'm gonna up the mic volume a little bit. Okay, if y'all can hear me, let me know. Man, dude, I'm seeing this beard in the I gotta shave this thing, man. It's been a while. Well, I mean like a month. I've been growing it out for a month, but it's been a while since I've had a beard like this. I feel like it's on the verge of too much. Like basically, you know, from Bali to now, just carried with it. I mean, but like since I've grown it out, the market's gone up. So, it might be time for a reset though. We'll see. But one way or another, it is good to be back. We're gonna, you know, you guys, I was honestly kind of shocked. I thought that like whenever I did 690 on a Sunday, for the, where is this? 690. Yeah, right here. You guys got it fast. I don't know if it's real, if 690 of y'all are actually there, if somebody bought it out one way or another. We got there. So, figured I'd go ahead. You know, like I said, I want to get back in the rhythm of doing more of these. And it's kind of weird seeing the stream within the stream. But yeah, you know, want to get back in the rhythm of doing more of these. I used to do them all the time back in the day, especially a lot more spaces. Like I said, I'm going to do that soon. So, you know, shout out to all the Wonky Weekly people. We're definitely going to get that rolling here within the next week. And, you know, shout out to anybody here on a Sunday, because at the end of the day, man, like Sundays are a good mix of things, right? Like, you know, it's a good mix of, you know, like church is a staple of my Sunday. So going to church, doing that, but like also getting out. I feel like a lot of people resetting, refreshing for the week. So I know a lot of y'all are watching football as well. Like it's on the, I've got a TV right there with the Cowboys and the Bears game. Personally, I'm not a big Cowboys fan, so I think it's kind of fun to watch them lose. But I also hate Caleb Williams, so I really don't care one way or another with that game. Got a little bit of the fantasy stuff going on also. You know, like to get outside as well, except for, you know, where I live, it's a lot hotter. So, you know, just trying to like, maybe that's better. So yeah, you know, like later, gonna play some Ultimate. So, you know, maybe after, we'll see if this goes for an hour or not. Like, you know, I'm just gonna go with the vibe of the day. Little bit to catch up on. Been a relatively quiet weekend. Shout out to the bots. Good to see you. Bren, good to see you, man. Got to have you up here one of these days. Doge Father, good to see you. Sai, nice having a bot on here. Thank you. I'll talk about Pingu too. You know, I guess I've got the Pudgy Penguin shirt on today. Shout out to the Igloo. I've got a wonky stonk on the background. Whoop, whoop. Yes, it's in my collection. It's actually like the only stonk that I minted because it was my one free mint. Whenever we launched, you know, so I got the vibes going there. Like I said, still crazy enough to believe the NFT marketplace. So talked about that a little bit the last stream that I did. But I mean, for now, what we're going to do before we really dive into things, I'm going to have you guys go to my profile page real quick. Click over, I guess, just find my name. Click on the profile page. Click on the Sundays are for the Bulls. I wish I could pin it. I'm not going to like it because I just learned that apparently nukes it, but go ahead, give it a drop, say whatever. I'll say be more bullish, say anything, give it a retweet also. I'll go back in there and do that a little bit later in the stream, but you know, any shares are appreciated. It's nice having a few of y'all in here that are killing time doing something else on a Sunday outside of touching grass, like, which I do encourage. You know, maybe you are touching grass and for some reason you've got this on in the background as well. You know, like I said, right now, dude, we'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart first and foremost. We'll go back to some of the other stuff here in a little bit. I want to look at a clean chart rather than one I've got marked up right now. I mean, dude, at the end of the day, this is just it's just noise. Like I said, it's not even really worth staring at this chart for very long. It's, you know, my theory, my thesis remains the same as it did with the other streams, which is practically this. You know, we'll go back to talked about it. Oh, shoot. I need more history on this. Does Bitstamp not have it? There we go. Go to this one. I mean, my thesis is still basically the same. I talked about it in the previous ones, how, you know, a lot of the bull market acceleration has happened after eclipsing this resistance right here from the previous peaks of the last bull market. So, you know, I think something similar is going to happen whenever we see this break above that 125 zone. And, you know, the longer you get in this range, I mean, you know, the better you get, better opportunity you have before things really ramp up. We're going to talk about a lot of those factors again for why the market really is gearing toward ramping up right now. All the fundamental catalysts are in place. I don't know. Should I have this up here? Y'all let me know what works best. I'm going to move this to here for now because I think that there are going to be less charts that it interferes with if, like, I'm in the upper corner. Yeah, no, I'll definitely look at the sweet chart also. So there are a few things that I'm going to do. Like, the way I'm kind of approaching this today, what I thought was a little bit interesting earlier, you know, I posted about it a minute ago. I'm going to dive into just a few of the TVL charts that DeFi Llama has posted. And we'll dive through the trends on a few of the major chains that are on here. And, you know, this is not all inclusive with everything they have listed, but I do think that it gives a decent picture of what's happening across the market as a whole. I'll check the Pingu chart also because, like I said, I love Pingu. So, you know, I've got that. Check a couple of the other majors like Doge that aren't on here. But, yeah, we're going to dive through each one of these. So each one of these that are listed on here, I'll take a look at their charts. You know, kind of look at them versus the market cap, etc. I do want to look at this also. Bitcoin dominance chart, I think, is still interesting. You know, it's kind of playing out exactly how we had things mapped up here. You know, if you looked at what happened the previous cycle, post-halving, little less than a year post-halving is when you really saw Altseason kick off. And, you know, it happened again after there was this trend break here. Move up, chop down, chill there for a minute on top of the resistance turn support, broke lower, you know, and that was again like that whole period from April 2021 through May 2021 was whenever things got crazy with Altseason. But realistically, it started there in January, and you know, we've kind of seen that shift a little bit already here with that peak, right? And I think something similar here is happening, just on a higher time frame, and it's going to play out in a little bit of longer stretch, right? So I think that we've seen similar type peak here, you know, is there. I literally just took that fractal. If anybody doesn't know how to do that, if you ever want to compare similar price action, what you do on TradingView, you go over to the tools on this left side. I know you can't really see it here, but if you look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, there is something that is just like a projections tool. You click on the bar pattern, and then you trace here, or wherever you want to compare it to, and then you can scale it. Yeah, you know, so that's what this is. I just traced this period of price action here, overlaid it here. I think that, you know, again, it's not going to give you a perfect image, but or a perfect picture of what's happening, but like at the end of the day, I think it does, you know, I think it can be helpful occasionally to be able to just compare cycles versus each other. Let's see. Yo, clicking boxes. That's awesome, man. Congrats. Shout out Riot. Okay. So again, I think that we're right here. You know, like, I think we're going to see a little period here. Hopefully not this long, personally. I think that this would kind of suck having... and I say it would suck. I mean, it just means alts would kind of chop within the same range for a little bit, right? Above this line before it ends up breaking. I'm hoping for a more, you know, swift drop down, but I think that we do continue to see that move lower. Like, at the end of the day, if you know what Bitcoin dominance is designed to go lower as an aggregate, because Bitcoin dominance is basically the market cap of every coin that is not Bitcoin versus Bitcoin, right? Like, and as bullish as I am on Bitcoin versus most coins as a whole on a higher time frame, you know, most individual coins versus Bitcoin are inevitably going to trend down. Like, Bitcoin's going to gain more dominance versus them over time, but the aggregate of all the coins together is designed, like, to gain more market share, especially whenever you have the regulatory shift that we have had recently with the presidency and the current administration, the SEC right now, with the way that they have completely changed now that Gary Gensler is not heading the office. I'm not really, you know, I love sports. I love sports. You know, I do a little bit, very light. But like I said, I've got football on the TV right now, watching on my phone at how terrible my fantasy lineup is this week, man. It is just, it's painful. My bench is outscoring my starters by like triple, and you know, it's 3 players on my bench versus 6 starters, so it's pretty atrocious this week. Okay, outside of that abysmal performance, again, you know, there are just a lot of things right now that are pointing toward this continuing to shift lower or trend lower. And, you know, we have not really had that true alt season yet, right? Like a true alt season, you can look at February 2017, whenever alts really just exploded versus Bitcoin down to that January of 18 move. Again, you can look here, you know, in the December 2020 to, you know, like, it says May 2021, you know, so it had that 5-6 month stretch, but realistically, all the way through December, you know, September to December, what this was more of just a consolidation into whatever the stronger ecos were, right? So this was like expansion across everything, and then this was consolidation within whatever those stronger eco runners were. Yeah, so we haven't had anything similar to that yet, right? Like, and if you look at like the Bitcoin dominance chart, this is the period. The majority of retail, when I say retail, a lot of the new entrants and the flood of people onto CT did not enter during this period, right? Nobody cared about Bitcoin in 2019. Like, they did a little bit. You know, they're like the summer of 2019, things were rebounding a little bit, but like it was a brief window. I remember reading a text from a buddy during the COVID crash, and he was like, man, this is BS. Bitcoin was supposed to be a safe haven asset, and it has just completely collapsed. Like, what the hell is happening? And, you know, for a sense, it was kind of true, right? Like, we saw that liquidation cascade down to 3K. You know, everybody quotes the Kobe tweet from back then about the great wall that he put up, which, you know, one way or another, like, there's a lot of lore from that period, but, you know, again, at that point, to the outside world, Bitcoin was dead, and like alts were that much more dead. Then from there, you saw the DeFi resurgence. That's kind of what this whole move down from here during the summer was that DeFi resurgence. Then Bitcoin started to finally break out in this stretch right here. You know, whenever Bitcoin started to make new all-time highs, and then eventually, you know, the trickle-down effect happened with the rest of the market, and that's where you got Altseason. But during that period where Bitcoin was boring, the market was printing new all-time highs, like the stock market was, right? As it was rebounding off the COVID crash, and then Bitcoin was just still kind of boring. And in a sense, I know Bitcoin's printing new all-time highs, but the crypto market compared to what's happening right now with alts, it's a little bit boring, right? Like, or not alts, but I mean, what's happening with, just take a look. Look at the NASDAQ right now, right? Like, look at the way it's just continued to print new highs. SPX, same type thing. It is just printing new highs basically on a daily basis. You look at gold. Gold has just continued to print highs, right? Silver's starting to get there also. All of these competing assets are starting to print highs, so everybody's like, you know, like, what is the real upside for me in crypto right now? And, you know, so again, what I go back to as far as where I really see that new wave of retail starting to hit, it is during this stretch right here, right? Because this is like the dream stretch. Regardless of what's happening with now, Bitcoin's going to attract a lot of people. It's a big name, but like during this stretch is where, you know, your Uber driver is going to start recommending you, hey, this coin is going to do XYZ, right? Like, that is where the average person believes that they have a chance of spotting whatever the next thing is. And, you know, the real difference this time around is we have real applications that are usable, that are actually fun, that are backing a lot of the speculation, right? Like, you know, it almost feels like so far this is the revenue protocol cycle, right? Like, you look at Hype and what Hype has done. Like, you know, the Hype TVL, the Hype trading fee, it's like the buyback effect, whether you want to call it Ponzi-esque or not, one way or another. Like, there's a real product that's generating real revenue, and it's feeding back into the buybacks for this. And, you know, like, users like that, and they like the product. So, like, the combination of both has led toward not just the overall ecosystem effect, but the overall just steady climb of the asset as a whole. And, you know, it's not even really fair to look at it on this chart because, you know, after the initial TGE, it went from there to there, right? So it's a bigger picture than this. You know, Pump is the same type of thing. I know Pump is down on the past couple days. But still, Pump, similar type picture, right? Like, you know, the buyback effect. I forget how many $100 million they've gone right now into it. So, like I said, I do some sports stuff. Today, I don't know if I got time to dive into that as much, but I do some sports stuff. I love sports, honestly, too much. I got in a big fight watching college football yesterday because I was so locked into the game. You know, like, okay, what happened was my girlfriend's friend's boyfriend. Yeah. um, like British dude, nice guy. I like him, but he doesn't understand how serious college, or maybe he does, but like college football is in the US. And he shows up and intentionally bought the opposing team's shirt just because he thought it was hilarious. And like, not only that, became their loudest fan at the bar, sitting directly across from me. I couldn't stand it. I decided in that moment that I absolutely hated that guy, and I sat at a different table. I was like, I don't want to say something that I regret. I'm going to sit somewhere else. Like, this guy, I just do not care about him right now. Walked away from, I was like, told the girlfriend, you're welcome to come with me, but I'm not sitting here. And as soon as we won the game and the game was over, like, I went back, I shook his hand, it was okay. But like, in the heat of battle, I, get a little bit too intense. So, do love sports. I think the 4-year cycle's over, Kid Boo. I think the 4-year cycle's over because, I talked about this last time with where Bitcoin should be topping out the next month. And, there's some smart minds that like believe that what's happening with Bitcoin right now, like that we're nearing the top, and, like there are 4-year cycles, and we're going to find out within the next, few months. We're going to find out. But every previous cycle, we've topped within 18 months post-halving, and we're coming up on that. So, like, I think that there are just enough fundamental catalysts in place that we finally can break out of the traditional 4-year mold. And combined with, like, the fundamental catalysts as far as the regulatory, the capital injection side, with a lot of these strategy companies and a lot of these... I mean, the ETFs that are being pushed through, the institutional, heck, the government interest, there are a lot of things that I think are finally different this time that just weren't really there the previous times that we said, hey, if these things are in place, we're going to finally break out and we're going to ascend to the new heights. And we just never really got that. And like, we're finally getting that. So I finally think that it's about time. I showed this earlier. I'll just show it real quick because I think that there is some credence to it. Again, like super bullish on Doge, but does that mean that if it doesn't print a green candle every 4 hours, that it's over? No. Like look back in October 24 as it started to move up. Had several of these, leg up, consolidation, break beneath whatever that support was quickly. It basically wicked beneath, reclaim, pump higher, right? Happened multiple times. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens here also. So a couple red candles doesn't scare me any bit in the conviction of where this is heading. It is it's a breakout play. It's one of the ETF plays that we're talking about. AVAX is another example of a coin that we've been watching that's been doing that recently. I've been posting this AVAX BTC chart for a while. Like, it just looks like it's time to finally mimic on a higher time frame what happened back here, right? We're in this curve up expansion of, it's broken out of the higher time frame. Broken out of that higher time frame resistance here, starting this trend up. And I think that, it has a lot of the ecosystem catalysts in place to eventually have that curve up. Not just the ecosystem catalysts. I think that the tech is way better than last cycle also with what they've done. I get it. There are arguments that are solid arguments for the modular scaling, solid arguments for monolithic scaling, and that's why I am incredibly bullish on both AVAX and SWI. I think SWI, we go over to its chart, I think it's going to have something similar happen here in a bit. And I'm kind of going out of order here a bit. I should be going through the DeFi TVL too, but I look, I look for solid tech, solid teams, and solid projects as far as like bullish fundamental ecosystem catalysts. And, you know, both have, I think, what it takes to be able to break out, hit that next level, and to be able to continue. So we're going to go ahead, take a pause, and we're going to go over to the TVL stuff that I was looking at. Where's the best place to put me where it doesn't block everything? Like maybe there? Yeah, we'll stick with here for now. I don't know. We'll experiment as we click through. Yeah. I'll get to some of the other charts. I promise you. A second. I need some water. Yeah, there's actually a decent amount of people check this out for a random Sunday stream. So I love it. Hey, and if any of y'all are clippers, man, I'm kind of lazy and I don't like clipping my own stuff. I think it's better and more organic if y'all do it anyway. I'll reshare a lot of it. Easiest way for you to get a ton of impressions. Just saying. Like, my brother wanted to clip a couple things recently. And I was like, dude, just do it. Don't ask me. I'll, you know, as long as... As long as what I said wasn't completely retarded, like I'm going to share it. And, you know, he went from his average post gets like a couple thousand impressions. And, you know, one of my clips would get like 50,000 whenever I reshare it. So, hey, I'm just saying, like, you know, you do it, even if I sound like a dumbass. I like to support people that support me. So I appreciate y'all. Let's see. The Zcash chart. I might get to it. I haven't checked the Zcash. Here's my thing with Zcash. Every cycle that I've touched Zcash, by the time I touch it, we have topped. And I don't know if I want to put that magic or that curse on the market yet. You know, I should talk about Aster. We'll get to Aster here in a second when we get to BNB. So we're going to start with this, right? Like the total TVL for the market as a whole right now. You know, it is approaching 2021 all-time highs, and my opinion is probably has already surpassed it. I don't know if this takes into account if these are the only chains that it is tracking or if there are more. I think that we probably already actually surpassed it, but yeah, total DeFi TVL says we're right there. And a huge aspect of that obviously is, you know, ETH counts for 95 bill, and a lot of these other, you know, Solana counts for 12.5 bill, Bitcoin 8.6 bill, BSC 8.1 bill. But, you know, a lot of the TVL that is in here is tethered back to the price of the underlying asset for the chain that it's on. So, you know, if you're looking at the ETH chart, and ETH is basically right beneath all-time highs here. You know, and it touched and made a new all-time high for a minute, the end of August. So if you look at that, you know, it really does resemble pretty closely what's happening with this, just slight difference. So obviously the price of the underlying asset's going to make a huge difference in the overall TVL. But I mean, it's a huge part of why I think this is going to trillions, right? Like, you know, I think we are primed to see a breakout in this. We're primed to see a breakout in a lot of these charts as well, where we are seeing these approach all-time highs, wanting to go higher. You know, hey, 10K plus ETH, you immediately double. I probably wouldn't exactly double this, but you're probably looking a close double to $180 billion as a TVL. And right now, the entire DeFi TVL locked across these chains that's being tracked is 161. So you get the picture. Like, this is about to send, but I mean, it's not a one-for-one correlation. You know, Solana, perfect example, right? Solana TVL set new all-time highs compared to back here a while ago. Now, a couple of things, though, to look at with Sol. So Solana, if you just look at the USD chart, it's like Which, dude, this I put this fractal out here in the middle of the summer, and it has just been crushing it. But yeah, Solana's at all-time highs also as far as the USD price is concerned. But when we look at the market cap, this is where Sol gets a little bit tricky. Look at how much higher. I'll do the Sol USD chart again in linear so you can look at it. Sol USD is right there with 2021 all-time highs. Sol, as far as its market cap, is up to $129 billion. When you're talking about its TVL versus its market cap, you can see why the TVL here is a decent amount higher than the market cap, because again, it's had significant inflation as far as the total amount of SOL that's in circulation. So it makes it easier to have that higher TVL, and why it's able to support the current USD price, even though there is so much more SOL that's in circulation, right? Like, there's a lot more DeFi activity, and you know, we've seen that. You can look across the chain, like, you know, a lot of these, if you're curious, I think that, like, if you're looking to learn more about an ecosystem as a whole, this is a great place to start. It's just looking through the overall TVL of what's happening underneath it, because you can easily just scroll down here and you're like, okay, who is generating the most fees for this chain? You know, for ETH, you're like, oh, in the past 24 hours, Tether has generated $22 million in fees. Circle, $8 million. Lido, 9. You can go down the list and see, what is this one? Rocket Pool, 250K. Morpho here. Binance staked ETH, 1.1. What is the DEX volume per date? How's the DEX volume trending? The stablecoin market cap, what's happening with it? Okay, it's continuing to, you know, like, there are just some interesting trends from that type of perspective. You know, you can see what's trending the most. Okay, this is actually, I think they need to fix this shit, because let's go back. Just gonna go overall TVL. Okay, I did not mean to do. We're gonna go back here. We're gonna go overall TVL. You can see Lido, which, what is Lido? Lido staked ETH, right? And now you see what I'm talking about, how the underlying price of the asset, because if it's staked ETH, and ETH is the TVL asset that's being counted for, that's the price. The underlying goes up, the price, or the total TVL goes up also, right? So anyway, obviously you can scroll through here, do whatever. We're gonna go to Sol real quick, and you can look at just like some of these Sol dApps that are killing it. You know, fees paid. Look at the fees paid, and if you understand, again, if you go back to Pump and you understand why it's been going up, it's the revenue thing. So, you know, this is just fees paid to Solana. This is not fees paid to Pump. So $2.8 million. Got it. Like, just go down the list. Yeah, so, you know, again, you can look through here, see the TVL of each one of these different protocols. It's on here. Interesting way to be able to just explore different stuff within the eco. Bitcoin TVL surging, printing new highs recently. And, you know, again, you go back here. When did Bitcoin kind of break out a little bit? 13th of August. How does that compare to the Bitcoin chart? God, I need to delete all the... I wish... If there's a clear all button, that would be incredible. Sometimes... There we go. What happened on the 13th of August? Where are we? Ah, right here. 13th of August. Boom. Bitcoin price hit new all-time highs, right? Hit that 125K. And that's right where you saw the breakout. But one of the things that you can notice, though, is even though the price of Bitcoin has kind of just consolidated sideways since, TVL has continued to increase. So if you're real on-chain, so you can go through here and you can see who has the greatest, you know, 1 month change relative to whatever the market cap is, be able to go through here, see what's happening, and maybe you spot some interesting trends. BSC is really interesting right now. So BSC is printing new all-time highs, right? Or BNB is. Like, the BNB chart is just a thing of beauty, man. Like, just a thing of beauty. It looks like it wants to go all the way up here to the 0.02 plus range and repeat what happened in previous cycles. Like, it is. It's BSC BNB season. Like, it's happening. But yeah, it's 1,000 plus right now. Continues to print new highs. Looks like it's doing what it did in that February 2021 run up. I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. And, you know, another interesting thing, too, if you are curious what's happening, you know, I was looking at Dex Screener earlier, and I was kind of just curious, you know, what does a lot of the, you know, the kind of the heat map of a bunch of the top trending coins look like on here? If you scroll through here, BS Solana, BSC, I saw a lot more green and a lot higher numbers than I did on a lot of different chains. So, I mean, you know, it's reflected right now with ecosystem activity. I'm sure some of y'all are in some of those different plays. Aster printed, and like, Aster's a huge catalyst again. Like, basically, CC has unlimited funds. He wants to pump his shit, and he's doing it now. So, like, good luck fading him. Hasn't worked well in the past. Appreciate that repost, PKT. Man, Tron is always crazy to me that it has 6.4 bill of TVL. I mean, so much of the TRX ecosystem is basically related on it being like a stablecoin layer. So it's like, but yeah, you know, basically 100% just lend. Base continues to print. Like, really curious to see what ends up happening with Base. And you know the crazy part about Base, and this is something a lot of people don't think about, right? Like, why does Coinbase want to push it, and why do they not really even care if there is a Base token or not? Like, or why have they not previously? Because Coinbase is still printing off Base. Like, the majority of these fees goes back just to Coinbase. Curious if it's in their recent earnings report, like what exactly they're making off it or what bucket they have that in. But I mean, you can really go back and like do the math and figure it out yourself. They're making, you know, fees paid $3.2 million in 24 hours. Forget how that's distributed. But I know a lot of it goes back to them. And what about Neo? You know, Neo bullish also. You know, we can talk about stock. Like, I'll talk about stocks tomorrow on the stream. Because, again, stock market's printing right now. Like, options are printing. Like, Riot, as far as Bitcoin miners, I think we've finally seen the breakout. They're going to continue to trend higher. I still super bullish on Riot with where that's going. You know, Neo, same thing. I mean, you look at Tesla and what it's done right now. Tesla looks primed to just finally print to new highs, breaking out of a long-term consolidation period. It's, you know, and Neo's kind of that high beta play right now that I think is actually going to outperform it in the short term. I don't think it's going to outperform it for the long term, but I think Neo is still a really good play right now. So yeah, you know, like that, but whenever they add the base token, they're making that much more, right? Like, they just printed infinite amount extra money too. So Arbitrum, really interesting, just seeing its slow, steady growth over time. Hyperliquid is just been a machine. It's just up only. See, Avalanche is one of those crazy ones where, you know, you want to compare its TVL to its price. Again, you can go back to this. So TVL back here, 8-9 billion. But, you know, the overall price in April of 2022 for AVAX was like $75, so more than 2.5x. But where are we? You know, it's shown a lot of bullish momentum recently, right? So breaking out a little bit there. You know, SWE, again, Sweep, that drop right there was the Cetus drop. But since that, like, you know, I think the way they handled that went really well. I mean, Sweeland and I know Bluefin have been absolutely crushing it. Need to spend some time getting some of those guys on here. Probably need to write some threads on some of that stuff too, because I think it's interesting what's going on. If you're looking in to dive into that within the eco, good place to start. Yeah, you know, but again, looks primed to send. Linea, dude, I guess coming up with the Linea TGE approaching, it's finally seeing activity spike. It's just insane to me. The ones that are crazy to me, if we skip past this, you know, Polygon basically is Poly Market driving. Like, it's kind of crazy to me, the collapse of Polygon. Aptos, man. Aptos is... I don't know what's happening with Aptos. Like, I don't think much is happening with Aptos. Let's skip over to, like... This is sad to me, man. Barachain, the way that it... Like, I really thought Barachain had a chance of ripping throughout the cycle before this happened. And... I think there's a small chance that Barachain could have a revival. And I would look for it in the TVL before I really look for it in anything else, like what's happening with the DeFi side of things. Because, like, Barachain was supposed to basically be a DeFi Ponzi powerhouse. And the house of cards fell apart pretty quickly. Okay, let's see this. You know, I said I would talk about Pingu, because again, I am wearing a Pudgy Penguin shirt today. Bro, let's just go to the Pudgy Penguins Twitter page, because they have everything that they're doing right now going on here. Right? Like, the important thing with a project being successful in the space is, one, having a good leader. I think Luca has shown to be a guy with great vision and is able to rally people around him. He was not handed the position that he's in whatsoever. When he was handed, I guess, acquired Pudgy Penguins IP, it was in a little bit of a shithole. There was a lot of FUD that was surrounding it, and that's no knock toward Cole whatsoever. Cole, I think, awesome dude. He was just young and he was in over his head. He didn't expect what he released to turn into what it turned into. And Luca stepping in the way that he did salvaged the direction of a community that I think was going to find success one way or another, because the community was so solid. But, like, you know, Luca just took it to the next level. And the way that they've done their Asian tour and the way they've focused in Asia, like, man, I'm telling you, it is insane the way that Asia loves Pingu. And it's one of the reasons why I really am so bullish on Pingu moving forward from here. We can look at the technicals and speculate on XYZ all we want, but, like, a few of the big things that I look at are, you know, let's just make it simple. If we are about to enter Altseason soon, and the overall aggregate market total crypto market cap is higher than it's ever been before, much higher than it was last cycle, we can probably assume that the top memes are going to hit a much higher market cap than they did last cycle also, right? So, like, that's why when I put on this chart right here and I'm like, well, Doge market cap all-time high from last cycle. I expect Doge to hit a higher market cap all-time high than what it hit last cycle, right? And if it hits a multiples higher than where it was last cycle, you look at it, and the next highest market cap meme behind it was SHIB. And SHIB hit a little over 50% of what Doge's all-time high market cap was. I think that Pingu has the potential to easily at least be kind of that SHIB narrative of the next man in line for this cycle, if not more, right? Like, I think at a minimum, the minimum bar that I have is I think they position themselves to be, you know, one of those top two. And Doge has the history and the narrative, and that's why I still have Doge as the king of the memes, because it's like Bitcoin. It's, you know, there are a lot of good ecos and good projects that are out there as far as what's being built, but like dethroning Bitcoin, you know, it's difficult, right? Like, and the same thing right now with Doge as far as the overall crypto market cap or, you know, meme narrative. But I mean, this has everything there to at least be the next person forging their own narrative to be in the top couple, man. Like, you know, I think there's a huge gap to fill. The meme narrative is real, but I mean, like, it's meme with real substance. So touching at least the market cap all-time high from last cycle for Doge, easy. Whenever things really ramp up, that's a little over $1, right? And I think Doge hits a $1 trillion market cap. I think there's room for a meme coin to do that. You know, when you're talking about Bitcoin hitting 10 trill plus, again, go back and do the comparisons for all-time high market cap of Doge versus Bitcoin last time. Kind of just translate that over. If Bitcoin's 10 trill plus, like, where does that put Doge? Or the leading market, you know, 1 trillion plus. Let's just say this, it's half of it. Half of it, $4.20 for one Pingu. I call it crazy. I get it. But, you know, we live in a crazy world. We live in crazy times. Like, the United States president has his own meme coin, and he's okay with it. It's Pingu season. So, a lot of other stuff working there, but I mean, that's why I'm so bullish on Pingu, Luca, everything with it have been for years, and I don't see anything changing anytime soon. You know, like, not just Pingu though. Like, dude, the overall NFT marketplace, like, again, NFTs have so much potential for where they're going. I think there's a lot of synergies between the two of that. I obviously, you know, have the wonky stonks, my collection. Incredibly bullish on art and the potential for that moving forward. That's why I think stonks are not going anywhere either. I think there's a huge as soon as, like, it doesn't take much capital to really start to move NFT markets. And I think there are a lot of synergies and a lot of, like, building blocks that can be done then, having a solid community and a solid project in that space. And, you know, I think stocks can fill that gap. So, like, I'm going to continue to be bullish on wonky stonks, going to continue to be bullish on the community. I think the history is there enough. I think there's a lot of unique aspects to it. You know, same type of thing with Pudgy Penguins, right? Like, I don't think that NFTs as a whole are going anywhere anytime soon. What made them bullish last cycle is going to make them bullish again. You can call them a high beta play on the ecos, and I think that they are. But yeah, we're just not in that stage of, like, you know, I can go back to the BTCD chart. Where did NFTs really become a thing? Last cycle, NFTs became a thing, like, realistically after March of 2021, whenever this huge ramp down happened, that leg. Where are we right now? We're, like, right here. So where does the NFT marketplace really start to heat up? Probably right here, right? So you got a little bit of time to stack before that capital floods in, because once it does flood in, crazy things happen. We're starting to see the strategy type stuff that are not perfect yet, obviously, with what's happened with a couple of these different, but there's going to be more of those. So, unfortunately, I do have to get running because I want to go touch grass today. Might do another stream tonight. We'll definitely do one by tomorrow. You know, going to get back in the rhythm of doing spaces and stuff too. I am so bullish it hurts. A few red candles are a gift. It gives you an opportunity to breathe and to be able to plan out what your game plan for attack is, for what you want to build and how you want to approach this when it happens, because it is going to happen, in my opinion. Like, it's a matter of when, not if. You know, a lot of things to look forward to. Gonna be a fun week coming up. Appreciate y'all hopping on a random Sunday. Y'all should go touch some grass too. Love you guys, and we will see y'all next time. Be more bullish.
You can call me Queen Bee, and baby I rule. Let me live that fantasy.
Bye, wonky stonks.